Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Rabbi Efrat Zohar, and with us tonight for Temple Solel's Friday evening service is Cantor Israel Rosen, Robin Rosen, and Matthew Lippman on technology. And we always begin with a beautiful nigun. So Cantor, take it away.
Lay 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 lay. Lay 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 lay. Lay 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 la 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 la
And we ask Robin Rosen to please kindle the Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Amen. And we continue with Lecha Dodi, our beautiful song to greet Shabbat as if Shabbat is a bride, as if an embodied thing, an embodied being is coming to you and entering your home, entering your heart, entering your soul, and just giving you a little bit of rest.
איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. איי 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 לך דודי, איי 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 לקראת כלה, איי 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 פני שבת, איי 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 נקבלה, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ובבורך. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך.
So Cantor, I was doing harmony with you, only you couldn't hear it. But hopefully everyone out there was doing harmony too, and all together in our homes where there's a great harmony going on.
Yeah, I know. When we're going to be together in the sanctuary, going to be a lot of harmonized. Yeah.
So Shalom Aleichem, we want to think about the word shalom, which comes from the root shalem, which means completeness, wholeness, and shlemut, right? And hishtalvut, which is equanimity. And Shalom Aleichem, we're trying to bring that sense of wholeness, of equanimity, of enoughness, which you'll hear more about later, into our lives. Often we just keep pursuing things and wanting more and thinking that if only this, I will be happy. And if only that, things will be better. But you know what? Finding the enoughness just where we are, that is truly a spiritual discipline. Cantor.
Shalom Aleichem, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
And now we prepare ourselves for Shema. It's an opportunity to breathe deeply, to turn inwards, which is why we often close our eyes when we recite Shema traditionally, because it gives us an opportunity to come to perceive in a way that's so very different than the way humans often do, which is using their senses. But the Holy One, the divine voice in the universe, the oneness of all that is, isn't usually perceivable just by our senses, of sight in particular. Often we need to go within, we need to block out all of that noise in a certain sense and be able to sense and intuit in a way that is so very different from what we do normally in the course of a week. And so Shema is an opportunity to feel and be in touch with that intuition, that voice within, that voice with a capital V that calls to us from beyond. And that is what we're trying to be in touch with when we sing Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vahed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, and yet there is a better place, a promised land, and the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. And there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורת תהילות אוסף אלה, נורת תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
As we think about this next prayer having to do with love and understanding, we want to be thinking perhaps about someone in our lives right now for whom it is a little difficult to find this love and understanding. Now, don't try and pick someone who's really difficult to find love and understanding for, because that is going to be way too much. But try to find someone you just need a little bit more, to try and find a little bit more opening so that you can feel more spacious towards them, more expansive, more open-hearted to them. So as we recite this prayer, let's keep that person in mind and try and actually recite this prayer to and with them. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us and over all your people Israel and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל. אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
now we take a moment to pause for private prayer and personal reflection. And we take this moment now to think of all those in our congregational family, all those in our lives who need refuah shlema, a prayer, a misha berach, for healing and for support, and to just simply feel the love that we all have and the good wishes we have for them. And so tonight we're going to ask Robin who we want to remember.
Ann Becker, Richard Blanky, Joe Bulick, Mimi Cohen, Tracy Fiokowski, Jane Gambardella, Seth Gelwasser, Dr. Robert Greenstein, Don Harvey, Larry Jurist, Ida Kacherka, Hannah Cates, Phyllis Lewis, Fred Lipman, Michelle Margulies, Elwood Powers, Sid Rabin, Michelle Robinson, Gabriella Rosenthal, Randy Shattenkirk, Michael Slotnick, Ray Strauss, Charlie Wolf, and Martin Zafman.
Now we'd like to ask all those members who are on Zoom with us, is there anybody who would like to unmute and offer a name for Misha Berach as well?
Yaakov Shlomo ben Shalom ben Liam.
Barbara Glick and Joseph Slipowitz.
Mocha Sifra Batkana Roselle.
And along with them, I offer Rachel bat Fruma, Menachem ben Batya, Tova bat Esther, Sarah bat Hannah, Mordechai Avraham ben Esther, and Chaya Sarah bat Bashya. So with all of them in our hearts, we bring prayers for their speedy recovery as the Cantor sings Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. אלנה רפנה לה, אלנה רפנה לה, אלנה רפנה לה, אלנה רפנה לה. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, שרה רבקה רחל ולאה הוא יברך וירפא את החולים.
So this Devar Torah for Parashat Yitro was adapted from one by Rabbi Sharon Cohen Anisfeld, the president of Hebrew College in Newton, Massachusetts. In this week's Torah portion, the first thing we learn about Moses' father-in-law, Yitro or Jethro, is that he, a Midianite, is able to fully rejoice in the good fortunes of the Israelite people. The Torah says, Yitro was happy about all the good that the Lord had done for Israel, that God had rescued them from the hands of the Egyptians. And this in and of itself is worth noting. We all know how human it is to have difficulty fully rejoicing in another's good fortune. There are things that often get in the way. What are the things that hinder us from rejoicing in what other people, even those that we love, receive? Well, usually can be traced back to one of two things. Either one has a sense of scarcity, an inner mindset that, well, there's simply not enough goodness to go around. And often that mindset is unconscious. It tells us that when someone else gets blessings or goodness, somehow that will diminish my own chances of getting the same. And today, we sort of are seeing that with the slow pace of the vaccinations, where some of us get vaccinations before others of us get vaccinations. And there's this sense of scarcity that they got it, but that may mean that I don't get it. And so this is what is often known colloquially as a zero-sum mindset. The other possibility is we can attribute to an age-old emotion that we all know and that Shakespeare wrote so much about, called jealousy. I see the blessing in someone else's life, and I cannot help but wish for a bit more of what they have, particularly if things in my own life aren't so great. And so I might resent that they get something that I didn't or don't usually get. And this mindset is similar. It's still a kind of zero sum, but it revolves more around resentment than it does about scarcity. But in contrast, Yitro, Moses' father-in-law, embodies the quality of capaciousness. And indeed, his name itself comes from the Hebrew root yeter or yoter, which means abundance, more than enoughness, more than enoughness. What Yitro embodies here is that quality of big-heartedness. There's more than enough room in his heart to truly rejoice in the blessings of another people. And there's more. The medieval French commentator Rashi picks up on the strange choice of the Hebrew word for happy that's used in the following verse. Yitro was happy about all the good that the Lord had done for Israel. And the word here for happy is vayichad. So Yitro's joy is understood to be genuine and profound. His devotion to Israel is unquestioned, but the Hebrew root contains a hint of something else going on. At the very same time, something else that Yitro is experiencing alongside that joy and happiness. Vayichad shares its Hebrew root with the word lichaded, to sharpen, or chidudin, meaning pointed. So Rashi, who cites an earlier midrash, suggests that the reason this unusual word is used here is because Yitro's skin got pointy. And he uses the term, Rashi uses the term chidudin, chidudin. In other words, when your skin gets pointy, you get goosebumps. So Yitro got goosebumps. But why? Why would Yitro get goosebumps? Why would it make sense to translate the phrase, Yitro got goosebumps about all the good that the Lord had done for Israel? Because according to the Midrash, as he listened to Moses' account of what had happened to the Israelites leaving Egypt and all the plagues and all the things that they had to witness and go through, he couldn't help, says Rashi, also feel compassion for the Egyptians who were killed in the process of Israel's liberation. So Yitro's goosebumps are understood by the Midrash not as a failure, but as further indication of his expansive heart. Yitro, who means more than enough, has more than enough room in his heart for both the Israelite and the Egyptian, for both joy and sorrow, for both devotion and compassion. The same quality of spaciousness is subtly related to Yitro's famous leadership advice to Moses that comes in the next breath. Yitro sees Moses sitting and hearing case law all day long, one dispute after another, and Yitro asks him, "What are you doing?" And Moses explains, "Well, the people need me to adjudicate all of these cases." So Yitro responds, "What you're doing is not right. You will become worn out. You cannot do this alone." And within Yitro's demand that Moses learn to delegate is a deeper emotional and spiritual insight. Don't make the mistake of thinking that you alone are enough. Yitro's suggesting that this kind of attitude of thinking you and only you can do something, or you and only you are capable of handling this problem at hand, while that's coming not from a good place, it's probably coming from more of an arrogant or narcissistic place, and it's not good leadership. True leadership, according to Yitro, requires the capacity to be more abundant, to make room for others, for different experiences, different voices and perspectives, different roles and different gifts. And this applies not only when you're a paid leader, like in a job, but it also applies when you occupy a position of family leadership, or perhaps you're a leader among your friends or your neighbors or in a community of volunteers. We exercise a certain degree of leadership in almost every interaction that we have. So this is not just about avoiding burnout, although it is also that. It's about the abundance that flows from a sense of humility, from recognizing that each one of us alone are not enough to be able to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. But together we are more than enough, like Yitro's name. And as we enter Shabbat, we have more time. We have this opportunity for reflection. So let us examine the subtle mindsets that underlie how we interface with the world and other people. Let's make sure that we're approaching life like Yitro, with a mindset of capaciousness, of abundance. There's more than enough to go around. as well as a mindset of happiness for others when things go well for them. And let's internalize that we are not islands, isolated and alone, despite the song and despite the fact that our American culture celebrates individualism so strongly. True leadership is also making room for others, even if we theoretically could do it all ourselves. But making room for others helps us because it helps us practice humility, and it enables others to step up and build their strengths, and it allows them to contribute their talents to the world. Shabbat internalize that we are not islands isolated. Cantor, would you like to lead us in Oseh Shalom?
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. Nay 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 na na nay 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 na na nay 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 na na nay nay na na nay 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 na na nay 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 na na nay 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 na na nay. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
And now we've come to the part of our service where we take a moment to recall all those who have passed away in the last 30 days. We mention the name of Joni Meyer Chimino, cousin of Linda and Joel Willens. And we also recall all those whose yahrzeits, the anniversaries of their death, falls at this time from years past. We mention Pauline Bassoff, Anita Beck, Howard Belsky, Benjamin Benson, Benjamin Cohen, Esther Cooper, Marjorie Cowan, Mildred Dolchin, Hannah Fine, Herman Fisk, Paul Frank, Moshe Friedenreich, Murray First, Jody Gale, Katie Goldberg, Isadore Gordon, Ricky Gottlieb, Marilyn Green, Milton Harris, Bernard Israel, Leonard Katzen, Harold Klein, Myrna Korber, Gertrude Kravitz, Roderick McKenzie, Fanny Mark, Joseph Mondra, Louis Mondra, Ida Nair, Eva Robinson, Harry Rosen, David Rosenberg, Gertrude Schneier, Jerry Seligman, Joseph Trellin, Esther Trope, Jack Waltman, Lynn Weiner, Monroe Werner, Albert Yassen, and Kenneth Yoner. In reciting the Kaddish, we affirm our awareness of holiness in our world. Much of our experience of divine goodness, grace, and love has come to us through those whose lives have touched our own. And so we invoke the transcendent power of love and caring. As together we sanctify God's name with the Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach irute v'yamlich malchute, b'chaye chon uvyome chon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran be'olma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace in the heavens bring that same sense of shalom and wholeness and peace to all of us here in the more tangible world, as together we affirm that idea with a big amen. Matthew, I believe you have announcements on behalf of Temple Solel.
I do, and thank you kindly. I appreciate it. And an absolute beautiful service so far. So, of course, always thank you, Cantor, Robin, and Rabbi Efrat. And I also want to thank our Temple Solel family that has joined us on Zoom tonight. So thank you to Bob, Jason, Joyce, Rabbi Frazen, Bob, Ruth, Senator Sobel, Sid, Sue, Walter, and Dick, and Bunny. We thank them very much. And actually, just to share with everybody that between our Zoom family that's on and our virtual family, we're at 48 people tonight, and that's double what we normally get. So we thank everybody for making this evening so special and sharing it with Temple Solel. So thank you. So good evening on this 23rd day of Shabbat. On behalf of the Temple Board of Directors, I would like to thank our Solel family and friends, as well as our global audience, for connecting with us virtually and spiritually on this Shabbat evening. Although we may not be able to join you in person, please know that Temple Solel is always here for you. In addition to streaming worship services and classes, our lines remain open, and you're encouraged to contact us for your religious, spiritual, and other needs. Temple Solel continues to make Judaism vital, relevant, positive, and lasting. We work tirelessly to ensure that the beauty, depth, and joy of Judaism are brought to life, not just for our members, but for our entire global audience. By making Temple Solel a philanthropic priority in your life, you are not just sustaining Temple Solel today, you are helping to ensure the strength of our welcoming model of Judaism for generations to come. A donation to Temple Solel is a wonderfully appropriate way to celebrate a life cycle event, to honor or commemorate the life of a loved one, or simply to acknowledge and express appreciation for the benefits Temple Solel brings to your life. Our temple has a variety of tribute and donation funds, providing ways to support the congregation at all different levels. You can choose to donate to Temple Solel by going to our website and on the donate page. You can call the temple office at 954-989-0205, or you can email the temple at admin@templesolel.com for more information. So, Tikkun Olam Committee, a couple announcements. We had a beautiful time tonight at our Shabbat in the Box dinner. We thank everybody that attended. It was great seeing everybody, and we look forward to the next one next month, and we had a great time tonight. Tikkun Olam also wants to challenge everybody and talk to you about Temple Solel's Brit Hazon campaign. So we're asking all of you to try to commit to at least one action over a 6-week period that will help create a more sustainable and equitable world. So go to the Brit website, which is posted in the newsletter and also posted online. You'll see buttons for 6 areas that you can explore, all different areas. When you find one that you really like, just simply choose which action you'd like to try, fill in some contact information, and indicate you're participating through the Temple Solel community. So Hazan will register you and actually send you tips for your commitment over the next 6 weeks. If you want to try more than one action, sure, go right ahead. We're hoping to find at least 50 Solel members willing to make a commitment during the 6-week period from now until the end of Passover. So for all our live virtual events, you can always join us in multiple ways. First, you can join us on Facebook stream, which many of you are. Another way is you can join us on our website at templesolel.com /feed /live-feed, or as we're welcoming all our Temple Solel family on Friday nights, we enjoy having you over Zoom as well. So tomorrow, we are always spiritually and philosophically challenged with Rabbi Efrat Zohar on Zoom for our Torah study starting at 9:30 a.m. And Sunday, we love to have our kids back for our religious school starting at 10 a.m. And Tuesday, as we do every Tuesday, Rabbi Rosen conducts a confirmation class over Zoom starting at 7:30 p.m. And then Wednesday morning, Rabbi Rosen is back for our conversation and coffee time with Rabbi Rosen, which is Wednesday, February 10th at 10 a.m. in the morning over Zoom. And then that evening, Wednesday, February 10th, is our very own Cantor is back with his music time. And the theme, of course, is Valentine's Day love songs. And we want to make sure that we welcome the special guest for Cantor. It's a Cantor Bill Lieberman from B'nai Aviva Weston. So I know that he does have a guest every single week, and this week we enjoy and we welcome Cantor Bill Lieberman. And then we're back here on Friday night for Shabbat Services at February 12th at 7:30 p.m. And I also want to end what we typically do with a nice quote. So we tend to forget that happiness doesn't come as a result of getting something we don't have, but rather of recognizing and appreciating what we do have. So with that, we ask you to all stay safe. Have a very happy evening. Shabbat Shalom. Stay in good health. And Rabbi, back to you.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And that was just a perfect quote. We didn't even plan to overlap in our thematics this evening, but we did. It was just mind meld. So we finish our evening with beautiful song Adon Olam. And Cantor, would you lead us in this marvelous ending?
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol יציר נברא לעץ נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אזי מלך שמו נקרא בידו אפקיד רוחי ועת אישן ואהירה ועם רוחי גוויעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא אדוני לי ולא אירא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא אזי מלך שמו נקרא.
Beautiful. And as the cantor is going to get the cup for wine, let us remember that last line, Adonai li velo ira, which means God is with me, so therefore I do not have to feel afraid. And that is our choice. So Cantor, lead us in a beautiful Kiddush, please.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen.
L'chaim, l'chaim.
L'chaim, everyone. And so you might recall the reason we do Kiddush and Motzi in a service, which sort of seems strange, right? But it seems so natural because we've all grown up with it too, is because in the old days, the synagogue was actually like a kind of inn for the travelers when there wasn't a place for anyone to, when there weren't hotels or often people couldn't afford or they were new to town, they didn't know anyone. So where would you put them? To sleep in the synagogue. You just make a nice little space there. So this was actually done so all those visitors would have Kiddush and Motzi with the congregation, and then everyone would go home to their own houses and do it all over again. But for them, we recite it as part of the synagogue service. And so together we would say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. And everybody else says,
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.